Lots of headlines on the agriculture front this morning. Let's bring in former Agriculture Undersecretary Fermin Adriano to give us his insights. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on One News.
Good morning to your watchers and listeners, and good morning to you.
Yes, sir, let's get right to it. Let's start with the UN sounding the alarm on rice situation, with rice inflation increasing at the fastest pace in almost 5 years. Now, just how worrying is this current rice supply situation in our country, sir?
Actually, the problem is really speculation.
Okay.
We have enough supply, but the problem is that our inventory or stocks is quite tight.
Okay.
And so it's subject to a lot of speculations, and that's the way traders behave. We have only a stock of less than about a month this August and September. So traditionally or normally, we need that stock of about 60 to 90 days to be able to stabilize the prices. But we
Okay.
have enough supply, except that it's tight, and therefore it's subject to speculation.
So, sir, just to clarify, you're saying that the current supply that we have should not have affected the prices of rice the way it has been affecting recently.
Yeah, that's true, and I think it has been aggravated by the Indian announcement or declaration of an import ban that created panic.
Okay.
And in the market there are quite a lot of speculative activities, and because of that, combined with the relatively tight supply that we have, because we're in the uh, lean harvest season or
Okay.
planting season of rice, that paved the way for a lot of speculative activities by some traders.
Okay. And sir, regarding the price cap, the economic team apparently was not consulted on this. The EEO was only based on the DA and DTI's recommendation. Now, sir, is this really how things usually work with regards to situations like this?
Should not be the case, because you have your economic managers to give you a lot of wisdom about the principles of economics. During our term, during the time of President Duterte, we
Uh-huh.
were heavily consulted by any decision, particularly on matters on agriculture.
Okay.
We work closely with DOF and the NEDA, and we even have the economic cabinet clusters, economic development cabinet clusters, to be able to harmonize or coordinate our policy positions on very critical issues. It should not have happened,
Okay.
but the things that it's already happened. The good news is that they said that it's temporary. I hope it would be temporary, because, as reported in your reporter,
Yeah.
the harvest
Yes, sir.
season is incoming.
Yes, sir.
By the end of this month, it will peak in October. If you have that price cap, it will really lead to a decline, a some dramatic decline in the palay farm gate prices. So it's not only the retailers who are the losers temporarily, but ultimately it will be the farmers, because no traders are going to buy their products at 20 or above, because of the price ceiling. Because you need about 2 kilos of palay to have 1 kilo of rice. That
Okay.
means if it's a price at 20, immediately it's 40 pesos. That's just your capital for the palay. How much, factor in drying, logistics, etc. And uh, 41 and 45 are not
Yes.
financially viable for the traders. So nobody's going to buy.
Yes, sir. And the government is currently saying that although this price cap is only temporary, the DOF could not tell just how much this will impact inflation in the long term. Do you think it will have a massive impact?
It will impact, because there is a confluence. It's not just only rice that we're experiencing inflationary forces. For example, the cut down on fuel production, on petrol production by Saudi Arabia, together with Russia, will lead basically to an increase in petrol prices. And we know that fertilizers, inorganic fertilizer, particularly urea, is derived from petrol products. In the same fashion that farm machines, and all of those machines are driven by fuel, and therefore the increase in the fuel will definitely drive up the cost of production of the
Yes.
farmers, not only here but elsewhere. So prices of the international market of rice will be still will maintain at a higher level because of this confluence of factors.
And Secretary Jokno also said this should only be in place for less than a month. And prolonging it is unsustainable. But sir, retailers are even saying they could only last a week, barely a week. And is it about time to lift this EO? Just how temporary is temporary in your view?
For me, it should be quickly lifted because we're spending 2 billion pesos for nothing for ayuda to the retailers. 2 billion is nothing. It will not really address the losses of the retailers. And I think the DOF has come out, and this is also our position, with a better solution, policy prescription, which is market-based. You just reduce the tariff or declare it zero. And therefore, because the current tariff or tax on imported rice is 35%. If you remove that, the price internationally is 650. That means if you put 35%, immediately the price here is about $1,000. If you remove that, then it will only about 650. That will really depress the prices of imported rice, and therefore it will affect the local supply, particularly this harvest season, because we're near the harvest season. Traditionally or normally, we experience the lowest prices of palay and eventually rice during the peak harvest season because of the greater supply of the cereal or the grain.
So, sir, just to clarify, you're saying that temporary zero tariffs on rice is a better move?
Oh yeah, because that's a market instrument. You know, it's not a legal fiat. It's only just, you're playing with the market and you're trying to douse all the speculative activities.
Okay.
For instance, if assuming, the president immediately says that we're contemplating on lowering tariffs to 10 or removing it, I think those who bought it at a higher rate because of the 35% and stock it or and put it in their inventory right now will immediately list it for fear that they will lose money as the cheaper ones, imported ones, because of the deduction or of the tariff will be sold to the market. Ako din,
Yes.
I will just release my stocks because there will be cheaper imports coming in.
That's right. That's
And
right.
that's a market kind of instrument that you can use and without really hurting so much the economy, particularly in the long run, the farmers.
And you were mentioning, sir, a while ago that of course the harvest season is now coming, and we should see better prices of the rice. But do you think, and do you agree with our officials that it will stabilize? The prices will stabilize when this harvest starts?
For a while, temporarily during the October to November, the problem is it's not even a medium term. It's about 4 months from now. If we do not allow imports to come in, or imports are not coming in because prices are too high internationally, we will have trouble by next year. We normally have an ending stock.
Okay.
To be safe for the next year, we need about 1.5 million to 2 million metric tons. That's about 60 to 90 days of inventory or stock. If we don't import, that means we will draw heavily on local production. And therefore, by the end of the year, that local production, local harvest will be depleted. How much ending stock are we going to have? If we're going to have about 400, 500,000 metric tons, that's only good for about 30 days because the daily consumption is about 35,000 metric tons. That's very, very tight. So, and then it is expected, or they're predicting that there will be an El Nino
Yes.
in the early part of next year, and that coincides with the what we call dry planting season. So there is no supply during that time. I think are going to have a problem if we are not able to allow more imports to come in to augment our local
Okay.
supply. That's I think that's my worry. Come January or February, we need to look closely December at the ending stock, because if the ending stock is quite low, then I think there will be a lot of speculative activities by the coming year, by next year.
Well, truly very interesting insights, sir. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have. We do hope to have you back soon on the show. Thank you very much,
Yep.
sir, for joining us. Former Agriculture Undersecretary Fermin Adriano.
Maraming salamat po din. Thank you.